Good morning and welcome to Gospel Bytes, where we take a bite at the gospel for the day. Today is Sunday, June 29th. It's the solemn feast of Saints Peter and Paul. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Glory to you, O Lord. This is taken from Matthew chapter 16, verses 13 to 19. When Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they said, "Some say John the Baptist, but others Elijah, and still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Okay, so we're celebrating this great feast of the two pillars of the Catholic Church, who are Peter and Paul, Saint Peter and Saint Paul. And the color is red to symbolize that these two were martyred. They're martyrs. So we know that Saint Peter, whose name was Simon, he was a fisherman. He was not a, a genius or an expert of the law. He was a fisherman, an ordinary man. And he was called by God to become the apostle to the Jews and then the first pope. We know St. Peter denied Jesus 3 times, but he repented. So if you're starting a religion or even an organization, why would you choose a traitor, or someone who's just a fisherman to lead the church, to lead your group? Uh, Here we see that when God calls us, it's not because we have a good background. It's not because we have this great academic um, qualification. Yeah? In God's wisdom, He just called Peter, and Peter said yes. Saint Paul, on the other hand, is known as the apostle to the Gentiles. He did a lot of missionary work. By profession, he was a tent maker. Yeah, so nothing really special about that either. And then he was also both a Jew and a Roman citizen. But he was the one who was leading the arrest of the early Christians. Twice he mentioned that he was there at the execution of Saint Stephen, who was the first martyr of the church. So you can see that definitely he has no qualification to be a great missionary of the church, and yet God called him despite his bad background. Imagine, he was the greatest enemy of the church at that time. He was arresting them. Even Ananias, who healed his blindness, he knew who Paul was. That's why he didn't really want to go, but God called him. So um, Saul became Saint Paul. So in other words, sometimes we think that you have to be uh, the experts in order to serve, God. You know? Some people thought, oh, maybe we should get psychologists, uh, great sales managers, so that they can minister to people better, or they can speak better. Uh, or maybe we should get the ministers in the church. We should get those who have PhDs in English or in phonics, so that they can read better. We get the sopranos and all these music majors to serve in the choir. Or we should just get the great accounting executives to lead our finance ministry, and the greatest business managers to run our pastoral councils. You know, God doesn't work that way, because otherwise people would think that, oh, I am the best one who is most qualified. That's why God called me. No, for some reason, God called you. God is calling you. uh, And you people are wondering, why him? Why is he reading? Why is he a priest? Why is she a nun? Why is he the head of this ministry? We just said yes. We trusted in the wisdom of God and said yes to God. And that's all that matters. Otherwise, if it's qualifications, God wouldn't call us, because then we will be proud and say, yeah, I'm the most qualified for this position. No, no. Yeah. Jesus himself was from a poor family, and he did not own anything. Uh, he just he was his love for God, his love for people. Those were the qualifications of Jesus, aside, of course, from the fact that he was God. But he chose people, and we just need to trust that the wisdom of God is better than our own. So if God is calling you, and I'm sure God is calling you to a ministry, to be part of his church, to serve him. That's why we have gifts. That's why we have our health. We have our voices. We have our minds. We have our capacities. So that in whatever capacity we can serve, we just need to say yes to God. So we are privileged to serve the Lord, because serving God is the reward in itself. And that's what Peter and Paul did. They just said yes. So, what are you waiting for? Just say yes to Jesus. I'm Father Jerry Sembrano for another edition of Gospel Bites. God bless you. Have a nice day. Happy Feast Day.